Lobsters, they're one of my favorite things, but they are intimidating to a lot of people. Are you unsure of how to cook them, how to take the meat out of the shell? Well, today I'm gonna show you just how to do that. It's really simple. I'm gonna start here with some steamed lobsters. Now, if you're a fan of boiling lobsters, I'm gonna need you to stop doing that right now because the water gets into the shell or through the shell and into the meat, and that gives you a diluted flavor. All of that wonderful lobster flavor, it kind of leaches out into the water. So it's better if you steam them in a large pot like this with maybe an inch of water. These are 2 1.5 pound lobsters I have here, and once you remove them from the pot, what you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of kitchen scissors here and trim off the very end of the claw. Any moisture that's in the shell kind of drips out. So when you bring this to the table for your guests, or if you're gonna take the meat out of the shell in your kitchen, like I'm doing here today, there will be less mess, and also you won't burn yourself with all that hot water, hot liquid. It's just taking a pair of kitchen scissors and just trimming off the very end of the claw. You can also remove the rubber bands at this stage, and you can see how much liquid is actually draining out of the lobster. So now it's time to take the meat out of the shell. Now, one thing that I didn't mention is that if you're in the South or if you're in a warmer climate, you might find the cousin of this traditional cold water lobster with claws, and that is the spiny lobster. And it's called the spiny lobster because the shell right here is really spiny. It's also called a rock lobster in other places, and there are no claws. The meat in the tail is really what you're looking for here. It's a little bit tougher in texture than their cold water cousins, but they're perfectly delicious, especially if you're on the beach. Now, to start with the lobster, what you should do is remove the claws. So take the claw and you're going to twist and separate the claw and the knuckle, which is this portion here, right from the base of the body. So again, you're going to twist and remove the claw in one big piece. So now, to separate the claw from the knuckle, all you have to do is give it a good twist. Now, if your lobsters are hard shell like this, it depends on the season of the year, you can use one of these towels to help you so you don't kind of hurt your hands. And now, to take the meat out, you can use one of these crackers here. These are really helpful in breaking through that tough shell, but I like to use the back of my chef's knife, and at the widest part of the claw, you're going to give it a good whack. So once you break through the shell slightly, I like to turn the claw over and do it again. So once you crack into the shell, you should be able to release the end of the shell here, exposing the meat, and then you're going to take the thumb of the claw, as I like to call it, and you're gonna pull back until you hear it break, and then give it a twist. You can fish that out with one of these picks, just like that, and then the meat from the claw should easily come out. And there you go, a beautiful piece of lobster. Now, to separate the tail from the body, you're going to, again, twist in opposite directions. So just a slight twist like that, you should be able to pull the tail away from the body. Now, to take the tail meat out in one nice, beautiful piece, I like to use a pair of scissors, and I cut down the center of the underside. You don't want to go too far in because you don't want to mark up your meat too much. Now, sometimes what you can do, if you have a softer shell lobster, which are called shedders because they're shedding their skin, so they're a little softer, you can sometimes just use your hands and pull in opposite directions and it will break the tail open. These are such hard shell lobsters that this really helps using the scissors here. So cut down the center, and then you should be able to put pressure on each of the sides here and open the shell up, just like that. And then you should have one nice, beautiful lobster tail, just like that. And now, if you're really a lobster enthusiast and you like this green part here, this is actually the liver of the lobster, and it's called the tamale. Now, it has a salty, briny, really intense, rich lobster flavor, and a lot of people like it, but if you don't, you can discard the tamale and the rest of the shell here. There is some meat in and around here, but you just have to kind of pick through it. So there you go. With a little bit of patience and also a little bit of practice, you will be cooking and shelling your lobsters like a pro. Enjoy, guys.